Hey there, my name is Seth and I live in Washington, D.C. in the U.S. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner, and these days I'm also beginning to practice the Wim Hof Method. So I wanted to make this video because as part of my learning, I've actually watched a ton of videos on YouTube by other folks doing Wim Hof, and I'm having a great time. I think I'm probably going to make a number of videos, and I will go a little more into my personal story, maybe in some of those future videos, but I thought I would start off by sharing something that I already do from the Feldenkrais Method, and it's a process called seesaw breathing. And the reason that I'm sharing it in relation to the Wim Hof Method is because if you're doing Wim Hof, you know that during the breathing, where you do 30 or 40 breaths before holding your breath, the idea is that you have this kind of wave-like breath. If you listen to the recordings of Wim Hof, he's always saying into the belly, into the chest, into the head, and there's this sort of wave-like movement. And in my experience, it took a while for me to really get that and to make it smooth. And when I did, my experience with the Wim Hof breathing and the subsequent breath holding, it got better and better as I was able to create that wave more smoothly. So what I'd like to do is share with you a bit of a process that comes from the Feldenkrais Method. Again, it's called seesaw breathing, and you can follow along. It's going to be a little over 10 minutes, and you lie on the floor, and you'll see in the video I'm doing it, but you don't really have to watch me. It's not going to be that exciting to see, but listen and you'll be guided through, and hopefully this will just give you a little more skill with the wave-like breathing that we use for Wim Hof. And if you have a good experience with it, I'd love to hear about it. You can leave a comment, you can like or subscribe. I'll be putting out more stuff, again, probably related to Wim Hof after this video, and of course I have a number of videos about the Feldenkrais Method. All right, so if you're ready, just find a comfortable place that you can lie on the floor and you can get started. Begin by lying on your back on the floor. And at the very start here, you're just going to be resting for a little bit, but you're also going to be tuning in. So since we're working with the breath, start by just observing your breathing without trying to change it. Just notice the size of your inhalation and your exhalation. When you breathe in, do you breathe more into your belly? Do you breathe more into your chest? Do you feel like you get more expansion on the left side or on the right side? And now also notice your contact with the floor. What's the quality of how your limbs are resting? Notice, for example, the feeling of your left leg, and then compare it to your right leg. Does one leg feel heavier or lighter or longer than the other or shorter? Or you might just feel like one leg is more comfortable than the other one. Notice the back of your pelvis. Is there more weight to one side? Is one hip joint a little lifted? If you're noticing asymmetries, don't worry about it, but just take it all in. And now run your attention up along your spine. So if you begin at your tailbone and then move to your sacrum, your low back, behind your chest, moving up in that way, you'll feel that some parts of your back are really connected to the floor while other places are lifted away. And you may generally feel like there's a little more pressure on one side of the spine in certain parts of your back. Also notice how your shoulders and your arms are resting on the floor, how your head rests. And now bend your knees and stand your feet. And just put them a comfortable distance apart. Don't lean the knees together, have the knees over the heels. And now, every time you inhale, fill your belly. So make your belly large and then exhale and let it go. And just do that a number of times. Not forcefully, but intentionally you're blowing up the belly. And just feel how that might change the way your low back contacts the floor each time you do that. Okay, and then pause for a moment. And then breathe in, and with each breath, you're going to fill your chest. What might help is to actually draw the belly in and up under the ribs so that the chest gets very large, like you're some kind of a superhero. And just feel this is doing something different in your spine than when you were filling your belly. So you can pay attention to, with each time you breathe in and fill the chest, also what's happening with your spine against the floor. Okay, take a moment to rest. And now you're just going to alternate between those two ways of breathing in. Breathe in one time and fill your belly, let it go, and then with the next breath, draw the belly up and in so that you can fill your chest. And as you alternate between these two shapes, just try to get a sense of how you're creating a kind of a seesaw movement. Feel that the pressure into the floor is different when you breathe low, when you breathe high. You may feel that your pelvis is actually rocking on the floor a little bit, or your head is rocking on the floor a little bit, and that's fine, that's good. Allow that to happen. All right, and then pause. And now, draw in a breath, and then as you exhale, expand your belly. So the same movement as before, but time it while you're breathing out. And just feel how this is different than doing it on the inhalation. You don't have to force anything, but just invite the movement. You might feel that your pelvis wants to roll a little down away from your head. You can think of your pubic bone reaching away from your head. But you don't have to create an enormous arching or anything like that. Just see how you can create this expansion on the exhalation. And then pause. And of course, now you're going to exhale and draw the belly up and in so that you can expand the chest. So do this a few times. And basically what you've done here is just to show yourself that these movements can happen either on the inhale or the exhale. So they don't have to be tied to one way of breathing. Take a rest. Just notice if there's any way that your back connects to the floor differently than when you began. If you like, you could roll your head side to side a little bit just to feel what's happening in your neck. Okay. Continue, have your feet standing, and now breathe in, fill your belly, and then hold your breath. And once the breath is being held, can you now expand your belly, but then expand your chest? In other words, you're going to make this movement of having this expansion be a little higher and then a little lower, but you're not breathing at all. You're holding the breath. Whenever you need to, of course, you can exhale and then you can take a breath or two normally, but then you draw in another breath and hold it, and you continue with this process. And so you start to feel the internal mechanisms that create this expansion and that create this movement separate from your breathing. And so do this a few times. In the beginning, it might be a little bit clunky, but if you work with it, you can make it smoother. Just let it be however it is now. Don't worry about being perfect. Notice how, as you make this movement, you're also creating a change, again, in the pressure of your back against the floor. All right. take a rest. And now what you're going to do is essentially the same idea, except you're going to hold your breath after the exhale. So the next time you breathe out, hold your breath, keep the air out, but fill your belly, fill your chest. Make this seesaw movement up and down with your lungs mostly empty. And again, pause when you need to take a couple of regular breaths, but then again, hold the breath, move up and down, and then take a rest again. And what you're going to try to do now is to see if you can completely separate these movements from how you breathe. So this is how you're going to do it. You draw in a breath, hold it, and begin making the movement, the seesaw movement up and down. But now, as you continue the movement, see if you can get a little bit of a rhythm, maybe going a little faster than before. As you continue the movement, you're going to slowly exhale. But what this means is while you're letting the air out, you make many movements of filling the belly, filling the chest. And you might find that when you exhale, that kind of interrupts the process. So you might need to practice a few times. That's fine. And then eventually, you're going to see if you can actually draw a breath in as well. Breathing slowly so that as you breathe in, you fill the belly, fill the chest, fill the belly, fill the chest a number of times. And you see if you get to the point where you're breathing in and out, filling the belly, filling the chest, but they're in two different rhythms. And that might not happen completely smoothly the first time you try this, but it's a really valuable thing to work with. And I just want to show you quickly how you can expand this whole process by just going into a few different positions. So I'm not going to take a lot of time with it, but just imagine you could do these movements on the belly. And then if you expand in the abdomen, expand in the chest, you're going to be doing that directly into the floor, which is a very different kind of experience. And you can also do these movements lying on the side. When you do that, you'll feel a very different experience against the floor as the pressure moves up and down the side of your ribs. And of course, you'll still feel the movement through your middle. And if you do the movements on the side, you might want to actually pause and lie on your back before doing the other side. You might be surprised to feel that one side of your body will feel quite different than the other.